Everybody.
What's up, everybody? Shawn here with another Live to Roll. Thanks for joining us again this week. I'm out in Joshua Tree still for this week, heading home tomorrow, but just enjoying one last day of vacation. But yeah, just going to talk to you guys a little bit about some temperature regulation, staying cool in the heat. So if you guys have any questions or anything you want to comment or mention that you do, definitely drop it in the chat comments below. We'd love to hear from you and love to answer anything if you guys have any questions. So yeah, I'm Shawn, C5, C6 quadriplegic from a snowboarding accident 21 years ago. Bobby, go ahead and introduce yourself. And is
Yeah,
my
I'm Bobby
audio
Rohan.
okay now without the, we're all
Yeah,
good?
it's much better. Much better.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? Hey, Dominic, Derek, Nicole, Ben, and anybody else who's watching live. Grandma, I know she's always out there, but I'm Bobby Rohan, C5, C6, quadriplegic of 36 years from a bicycle accident.
Awesome, man. Yeah, thanks for hanging out again, joining Bobby. Today, yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit about temperature regulation because that is a tough one for anybody with a spinal cord injury and a lot of different disabilities. I believe that does affect when your nervous system is affected. It usually does affect your ability to cool and or just regulate your own temperature. So for like higher level injuries like us, like quads, Bobby and I, we don't sweat, which I know a lot of you guys out there watching are also quads and don't sweat. So that's a major struggle in the summer to overheat and to be able to keep
Well,
yourself cool.
let's clarify this right now. We sweat when our body's trying to tell us something.
Right.
And I know my body's been trying to tell me because I wake up starting to sweat around 2 in the morning lately. I don't know what it is. I'm beside myself, can't seem to put a finger on it. Until I get in my chair, it stops. I'm adjusting my hips, but it's just weird. It just I'm the and I'm sure probably Derek, Ken, and Dominic knows the sweating on that one side, and it's my right side, and um, I kind of roll over in the night. Nope, that's not helping. That actually sometimes makes it worse. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but we do sweat, but not when it's hot. It can be
Yeah.
120 degrees out, and it sounds like it. Back where you probably, Derek, it probably is pretty hot. Um,
Yeah, I know a lot of the country was dealing with some pretty high temperatures these last few weeks. The East Coast and stuff had a crazy heat wave. And then I know we're like hitting a little bit of a heat wave here in Southern California. I know today out here in Joshua Tree, supposed to be, I think 101 was supposed to be the high. I think it's that about right now. It's like 100 or so. But yeah, the sweat from AD is definitely a different type of sweat, and that is not what we're talking about. If that sweat's happening, that's not usually due to overheating. That's due to something else. Like
mhm.
Bobby's trying to figure out what's going on with
Yeah,
his.
it is nice on a hot day when you do have a little bit of that sweat, so you do get some of that coolness. Yeah, and
Well,
Derek, I think it's back pain. I think it has something to do with my hips. So another doctor's appointment, which I have one in August. I have to wait for. So just
and yeah, no, that hopefully get that figured out. And Derek mentioned his nose runs when he overheats. I get that too. I get that. My nose runs when I overheat, but also from AD. Like if I'm getting AD, my nose will be like running like, and not like booger. Like it's just like that water. It's like dripping
yeah,
water.
I think it's common for everybody. I don't think it's a spinal cord thing. I just think it's a common thing. I know when I exercising and rolling, it happens too.
Me
It
too.
just
Yeah, exercise will make my nose
yeah,
drip
like if
too.
you're probably playing rugby, you get it.
I do. Yeah, playing rugby or even just on like a good push, like out or even like doing the park stuff, or even out here sometimes like when we're on a nice longer. longer push, just and I start to get pretty like my body. I start to feel that exertion. I'll start to my nose will start to run and stuff.
Yeah.
But but yeah, that's a. I think that is definitely common. I don't know what that is exactly, but if that has to do with the AD, this nervous system, it's just a normal thing for.
I think it's a normal body thing because it happens to, I notice it more than that. I mean, it was like that when before my accident. I mean, when I used to ride and do triathlons, I was always like the end, like you just have snot just coming out, and it's not boogers, it's just that clear liquid stuff. And um, Ken says his nose starts to run as soon as he starts to cool down. Um,
That'll
you know,
happen to me too. I feel like it. I feel like it's, while I'm overheating, and then yeah, even when I'm trying to cool down, that like because I get when my body. I don't know if this happens for you guys or not, but like when I am doing something in the warm, I feel like I can take it for a while. Like I feel warm, but I'm like going still. But once I stop, either like the workout, the activity, or just like come in from the heat where I'm like feeling like if I'm sitting out and it's somewhere hot, once my body starts to cool down or I stop the workout and I start to settle, I really get like out of breath, like, and my heart rate really feels like it's like going crazy, and I'll get the nose drip start to happening, and like yeah, like that's just, and I'll start to feel that like I don't know what that is, but I'll feel crappier at that point than I did when I was actively in the heat or working out. That like cool down process. I don't know if that's normal for you guys, but
I think so. I think I can go a long way, and then once I'm done, I'm done. And
mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like oftentimes out here in Southern California, we have a baseball tournament. It's called Over the Line,
Yeah,
and it's a fun day. And Shawn and I are both pretty high competitors at this sport. And you're sitting out the heat, and when you have to be in the outfield, and there's no shade out there, which oftentimes, and as soon as I have finally somebody sprays the back of my neck, I can't get
yeah.
enough. I'm like, okay, keep spraying. But until then, I can be okay. I can be okay. But until I got you know some relief for a second by a spray bottle or pouring some water on my neck, or wrapping those cool towels,
Cool.
you
Yeah,
know, I'm done. I'm like, okay, you got to keep this coming, keep this coming, more, more, more. I'm drinking a water, and half of it is I'm letting it just go down
I do
my,
that.
and then I'm pouring it on my knees. You know,
I do that. Yeah,
yeah. Because a lot of times too, especially I don't know what it is, but if I pour the cold water on my left knee, it triggers AD, and it triggers a little bit of sweat.
that's
Um,
interesting.
I think it might have been from when I broke my femur and I have a rod in there. It's always been sensitive. Like when something is under a desk, a table, like you don't notice there's like something holding the table together underneath, and I didn't see it. And my left knee knocks into it. It's like this arm, my right arm will go into bad spasm.
Interesting.
Or when I pour cold water, it's like my bad spasm.
That is crazy. Yeah, I wonder. It must be something to do with the nerves, the sensitivity with the rod, something in there. But yeah, that's crazy. But I do the same with. I just try to do it too. Like I'll try to spray my legs and stuff because I feel like just because I can't feel them, I know that they're hot still. And you still have to cool your whole body down. Like just because I can cool like make my face feel cool or my head like doesn't mean my body temperature necessarily is coming down. So that's what I do. Try to do everything like, and that's I feel the same way. And that's what like in rugby or over the line or things like that. I will typically wait until like I'm really getting warm to start to spray myself because once you do, it is like it's like crack is what I always used to say at rugby. Like once you do it, you just can't stop. Like it feels like you're on fire once you spray it and you don't have to spray. It feels like it's 100 times worse than it was before you sprayed.
Yeah, and it's probably not helpful. And maybe staying cool at the beginning. It's kind of that theory of pain medicine. You have a surgery and they say, you try to go, good, good. And then as soon as the pain comes, that one pain pill is not going to help because it had already reached the threshold. So doctors will say, um, take it as I subscribed it, because if you let it go too long, this isn't going to help. So, and Derek, couple comments though, but Derek, if you get dizzy from the heat, it's because the blood vessels expanding lower, lowering the blood pressure, causing dizziness, fast heart rate, and shortness of breath, which is basically, if I'm not mistaken, Derek, that is the signs of starting a heat stroke. That,
Okay,
that's where when you hear about heat strokes, that's the sign of it starting. Not necessarily it happened, but eventually it will happen if that continues.
yeah, no, that's exactly, and that's the one thing that, and I never thought to do this, but one of our friends, Toby, Tobias Forrest, we had him on here before. He's an actor. Um, I was talking to him one time years ago, and he told me that he was just outside, not even doing any rigorous activity, just kind of outside, like with his family, hanging out. Like I think they were doing like a barbecue, and he was starting to feel a little overheated. So he went in and just happened to be like, I'm going to take my temperature because he had a thermometer, and it was like 102.5. Like, and he literally just was sitting outside at a barbecue with his family in the sun and out of the sun, in and out of the shade, but his body temperature had raised like he had a fever almost in that, and he said it was within
Right.
like 2 hours of like
So
sitting out there.
the body regular temperature is 98.6 or
Yeah,
98.
like I think like 97 or
Like
98.
two.
Like,
Okay, so it was at 102. I believe it.
yes, it had raised like 4 degrees over like normal temperature in a matter of
Right.
like 2 hours of being out and no rigorous activity, just sitting. He's in a power chair, he's just hanging out, like doing his thing.
Well,
So that kind of
yeah.
made me really think,
No.
and like our body temperature probably does really elevate because without sweating and without being able to cool yourself, your temperature is just going to go up. Like, so you imagine us in over the line doing an activity while sitting in the sun, we've got to be up well over 100 degrees at our body temperature. Like it's got to be
Um,
like,
you know what you just described?
well,
Pretty much my ninth grade year when I went to a new high school. I did not. I just needed a day off every so often, and I would take that pillow and all the blankets I can around my head and just create as much heat as I can. And then I would walk into the kitchen, Mom, I don't feel good. Can you take my temp? And my temp would be like, well, no, I would just get myself as hot as I can with my pillow and blanket. And I just start. So
that's
it
crazy.
just kind of reminded me of trying to bring up that body core of trying to get out of school. So,
So yeah, that is exactly. But like even doing that, you were able to raise, at least like temporarily raise your
right. Oh,
temperature
yeah.
to be able to do for that
Yeah.
period. And like earlier, Derek also mentioned he tries to replicate sweating with a spray bottle and a fan, and that's exactly like the best thing to
Oh,
do.
yeah.
As I was gonna say, for sure, is like the best thing to do is.
Yeah.
For me, that's like the easiest thing. But that, like what we were just saying, once you do hit that spray bottle, you have to constantly keep spraying because like until your body temperature really gets down, because it's gonna be hard not to have this spray once like that, once you started.
I like
Sitting in
what
front of the
Derek
fan
said.
does help a lot though. For me, just sitting in front of a fan, having that moving air helps so much even without the water.
Yeah.
That's like one of the like most effective things for me, I think, for sure. But also I get cold if it's like 73 and the fan's on me.
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm cold.
I know it's crazy when it's not like hot, so you're fine just sitting around for the day. The temperature was just perfect, and the fan is going. And just after a while, you're like, "Ugh," like you want that air off you, off your body.
Yeah, no, exactly. You do. It's just like gets to be too much for after a little bit. Um, but yeah, that is honestly my favorite thing, the fan. And then one of the other things I did this week, if you guys noticed, last Tuesday when I was out here, I had a full beard and shaggy ass hair everywhere. And on Sunday, I went and shaved my face and head
Yeah,
completely.
so let's see. We can tell the face, but let's see your head.
You can see my bald head and how
Woo!
far the hairline is too. But
That
but
that takes
that's
me back to your rehab days.
yeah, no, it is definitely, and but it does help a lot too because I have just since doing this these last couple days, it has been a little easier for me to stay or feel a little cooler at least. My head feels a lot cooler at least.
Um, Jay said he had a 9-hour drive with no AC last week. I almost melted. I
Man.
definitely would have melted. That's got to be insane. Angry quad, you know it right there. You got to know your tolerance, and um, you know, I I think if all of us who have been the quad over, I don't know what, 5 years maybe, you got a really good sense of how much you can last in the sun. And I'll tell you, when I in my 20s growing up, Shawn, in Woodland Hills, I was I was the king of heat. I can be out there all day long, and I get hot. Don't get me wrong, but I just I can tolerate it a lot longer now. Living here in the OC, being much cooler, I can't handle the heat as like I used to.
Yeah, no, I do think that your body really, you really do adjust to the climate you're in, and even to the seasons. I think because like when it's been really cold and then you maybe get like through the winter and then you get that first heat wave that comes through, it feels like the hottest hot death. Like you're like, oh my god. And then the same thing on the other end, like when it's been summer and like fall starts to come, and then you'll get like cool cold front that comes through and really drops the temperature like that 20-30 degrees whatever from it than it had been in the weeks before. Like it just feels so much harsher than it does once you've been living in it for like at least even like a week. So like you're like a month into the season, you're kind of like your body starts to acclimate and kind of adjust to everything. um but yeah, I
Yeah, I
do think
mean,
that.
but even like this morning, it wasn't even 75 yet, but it, I think when I went pushing this morning, it was 71. And I did my usual 3 miles in the morning. And because there was no marine air today, I came in having to have the fan on. No spray bottle, just enough to turn, needing the fan to cool down, even though it was not even 9 o'clock yet. So
Yeah, yeah, that's
it's and Ken, Ken said something that kind of triggers something with me. Family get-togethers are tough because all they want, really cold. They all want it cold, and I want it warmer. And I'm sure you're talking about the house. And when I travel, and I travel with a really good friend of mine. She's like a sister to me. When my wife can't come, and luckily my wife and I are the same. We're not hotel people where we want the air on. But my roommate, she went through menopause, and even though she's way older to now she's through it. No, but her tolerance to heat, everything is hot. It's hot. It's hot. We need to turn on the air. It's hot. When she comes
but
visit, because we don't have AC, she's like, your house, it's hot, you know. And they come into our home, and they open up all the windows at night, get we barely even think about how to keep the cool, bring in the cold into the house at night, and then shut everything and put the curtains down. So they put all, like, during the day, we have curtains up everywhere, which brings in the heat. I understand. And so we are just totally bad at it, my wife and I. But they're like so conscious, her and her husband, and just, you know, they run our household how to keep it cold, cooler through the day. We're like, oh, okay, I guess. So
yeah, no,
it's pretty
that
funny.
kind of
But
stuff does help a lot.
when we share a hotel room, we're fighting over that AC. I think Derek said it. I'm constantly flipping the AC on and off. Yeah.
Yeah, trying
And
to go back and forth. That's what
Yeah,
I've known, because like I know when I used to like travel more with rugby and stuff, pretty much everybody I roomed with was always. I don't know how the other quads. I guess I stayed with a lot of the higher functioning quads, and a lot of times with Jesus, a friend of ours, and Jesus was just not. He's polio, not SCI, and different, and they, pretty much everybody I stayed with would like it pretty damn cold in the room. So I'd always make sure I brought like a long sleeve or something to sleep in,
yeah,
because like at home I don't sleep with a shirt, or I sleep with like a light shirt on. But
yeah.
like
Me too.
I'm not like I've slept in hoodies before because I'm like, dude, this shit I can't.
I bring because of my good friend. I bring my blanket that I have to wrap around my head to keep
Yeah, right, exactly.
warm. Yeah, that's the only way I can take it. Um, uh, I used to room with Jared a lot when I played for Crown for a
Oh,
couple
that
years.
dude's always hot.
Dude, that guy takes one push and he's hot. you know, it's just like, and at night in the room, I'm just like, dude, it is so cold in here. He goes, really? And then he's got the white noise of the fan on all night. So not only am I hearing the AC fan, I'm hearing his fan, and it's just cold, and it's just like mentally, like throughout the night. I've stayed in Vegas with him 2 years in a row, and it's just like, you got to be kidding me. This is killing me. And that can make they say being hot and then cold can't make you sick, but I think it wears on your body
Yeah,
to run you down to get a cold, a common cold, or whatever you want to call it.
yeah, it probably lowers maybe your immune things. I don't know, but I know it's probably not great for that. And that's the one thing that's hard about going or being anywhere that's really hot in the summer, because everything is overly air conditioned. Like in Vegas in the summer when we've been there for tournaments and things, I would have to go out. Like we'd get home from the tournament, we'd be back at the hotel. I'd maybe be hot at first, but I'd cool down after an hour or two, eating, hanging out, and I'd be freezing in staying within the hotel.
Hmm.
Like like I'd have to go outside, and it's literally like 104 degrees or something like that. But you go outside to like warm back up, trying to catch the balance and stuff.
Shawn, your wife in the background is reminding me of Shawshank Redemption. When the lightning was striking, he was striking the pipe to get through to break out of the prison. And every time you're talking, Leah's hitting, and then when you're not talking, she's not hitting.
All right, I'll try to time that better. But yeah,
No,
she's probably.
yeah, I'm just joking. It just kind of reminded me like uh, it was just that for a couple seconds. For anybody who doesn't know, Shawn is packing up to leave, or I should say somebody else is packing up for him to leave.
Yeah, I'm Leah's doing all of the work. I'm sitting here on the camera doing absolutely nothing. So I'm very grateful for having someone like Leah that able to help, and I need to be very grateful and appreciative. So yeah, thank you. That's why I saw why she's not in the chat or doing anything like that. So.
Yeah.
But and also earlier, Angry Quad Shawn had asked me about how I cut my hair, and I actually just used
Number
just
one.
regular clippers. And number two is what I used, but I was able to get it, and I got most of it. I left myself a nice little mullet in the back that I couldn't quite reach, and then Leah helped me out with that and cleaned up. And then I tried to do my whole face, but I also did that outside, like and without a mirror. And I was like, yeah, it feels really good. And then Leah looks at me and just starts laughing. I left like a nice little patch, like right here, just right on the side of my chin, just kind of sticking out, like straight out, like nice little gray patch of hair. and and
I had this.
I kept that for like a solid 24 hours there because just. I didn't notice until we were getting into bed. She had already cleaned the clipper. I don't know. I just she but it was funny. So that's how I just tried to do it on my own. And
No, if anybody wants a good laugh in our live to roll, I sent that in like 4 years ago. How I bick my head, shave my head with the
yeah,
razor. But I'm the same way, Shawn. After I'm done, I have my wife. I do that. I go like this. Did I miss anything? And I just put my head down, and she goes, "Yep, here and here." It's always right here, and I know it, so I'm always trying to and I'm trying to hold a freaking razor blade in my hand, trying to get that little parts, but I never hit it. Once in a great while, they're like, "Wow,
Yeah,
Flow B."
no, I've only done it a few times now with the clippers, trying to do it on my own with the back there, or like all of it. Um, but yeah, that I can't. I got this little side area okay, but I definitely left like a nice
The
strip
middle.
through the middle that I just couldn't quite reach with holding. And Angry Quad said Floby rocks. The Floby would have been nice, but it.
Oh, if Flow B got that like that short, I think it
No, I
was.
think it was for longer hair. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
I think
like
you
the
had to
full.
have a little bit longer, and then it kept everything easy. I
And
think it
some of
was
our
cool.
younger people might not know what the Floby was, but
I
back
know.
in the day, there was like hair clippers that also was like a vacuum, and it actually sucked your hair up, so you could cut long hair. It showed like you can cut like 6 inches, or leave like a 6 inch.
And you know what's so funny about that product? Then they made a dog version, and it's like, wait a second, it's the same thing. Your hair and a dog's hair is pretty much the same thing, but they just said it was a dog's version and charged a little bit more. So
It might have been a stronger clipper, but
yeah, who knows? Nicole, yeah. If anybody, I've had the wonderful pleasure to meet Nicole many times, and she's such a sweetheart. But Nicole, you're probably what, 90 pounds maybe. So yeah, I could imagine you get cold real fast. So I bet it's a constant battle for you. Yeah, I wear my sweater so my mom can blast up the two fans because we're experiencing hot flashes. Um, or she's experiencing hot flashes. I feel for women who go through the menopause. What Angry Quad. What is it? Remind us what state you're in, and is it? I know you get snow because I've seen videos of snow outside your garage. I'm just wondering if it gets blasting hot out there too with humidity. Um, Curious. You don't have to. Just wondering. I'm wondering, and it looks like, and I'll tell you one thing: Angry Quad handles the cold like a champ. He's like in the garage, and I can tell there's snow out there. Maybe not fresh. One night video, I think there was, but he's sitting there in his cut off sleeve shirt, jersey. Okay, yeah. So you get the humidity.
yeah, the
80
humidity.
pounds. Yeah,
That,
Nicole is 80 pounds. And I was trying to be generous, Nicole, giving you 90 pounds.
yeah, no, and that is definitely harder to stay warm if you're very small like that. But that is the thing. I feel like for like somebody like a quad, like a Nicole, anybody that's kind of smaller just has trouble staying warm. Bring a light hoodie everywhere. Like even in the summer, going to restaurants, things like that. Like it's freezing in there most of the time. Like it's nice to have that.
No, you're right. It should be one of you. I have a bag. I have a bag full of clothes, but I also have a bag in my back of my car. It's a blanket and two sweatshirts. Um, and there's okay sweatshirts, but they're not ones I would wear um, on a daily basis. But for emergency or hey, run, especially coming up in the fall when my she's not eating. I don't. It was the sorry dog issues. It was the dishwasher freaked her out when it popped open. Oh, so what'd you do with her food? I covered it. You'll see. My poor dog. She's ready to eat the full bowl, and it's sitting there right by the dishwasher. And all of a sudden, it pops open, and the steam goes. And she was right there, and she just freaked. So poor thing's been like, she's had a tough week with July and everything. So
I know that's tough. She's probably already a little traumatized from the Fourth.
yeah. So sorry about that, everyone. What does everybody do for going out in the cold weather? Um, and winter. You first you live in California because that's much easier than dealing with snow, where some of you um, may be. I don't know how anybody, and um, I think Derek, you're in Minnesota. I don't know how you deal with that. So um, yeah, it's always better to have one and not need it than not to, and do. Yep. So yeah, you just got to bundle up. I guess the best you can do. I mean, I think Derek, you might know best than some of us out here, or even well, like I said, I don't think angry quad. Do you get cold angry quad? Really curious. Just because a couple videos I saw in your garage, you were handling it like a champ, but um, I think angry quad handles everything like a champ.
Yeah, he just kind of powers through it, I think. And he's usually doing a lot of like workouts and things, which will warm you up a little bit more and keep you a little warmer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that is. Uh,
Yeah. Oh, it's Leon that's in, I think, Minnesota. You're in West
yeah,
Virginia.
Leon's in Minnesota,
That's right.
but still, yeah, West Virginia.
No, it's
Huh.
yeah, it's a tough balance. The cold and the hot. It's like, but that's I think we're not out of the norm. That I think everybody just feels. Some people are just more sensitive to it's like this. It's like too cold, too cold, too cold. Just right, just right. And boom, now it's too hot, 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 too hot. Oh, now it's getting just right. Now too cold, too cold. It's never like you get a whole month or two of just perfect where we're happy as quads, but I think just people in general.
Yeah,
Good quad.
sorry. I was trying to mute in between things.
Not a
But,
problem.
but yeah, that is important. Having anything like that, especially like blankets, anything you can have like uh, in an emergency like that. I feel like so like for I actually have because I always keep a backpack on my chair pretty much, and I have my wallet and a lot of stuff like that. And I do switch in the winter or like fall cooler months. I do keep a beanie and a neck gaiter in there, like just in case it gets cold and I need to throw those things on to warm up a little bit. Like, because I'll usually have a hoodie, and then in the summer I typically try to keep a small fan and a one of the cooling towels in there, so that if I start to overheat, if I'm out or anything. Um, but I have thought about keeping the net gaiter in there at all times in case of that. Like maybe if I forgot to bring a hoodie or I didn't bring a hoodie somewhere. Sometimes the net gaiter, when it's cold and you're in an AC area, keeping just this your neck area warm will make me feel a lot warmer and better. Sometimes my arms might still feel a little cool, but those things are just, I think, nice tools to have uh,
Yeah.
in any case.
Well, and I mean, if you ever look at quads, the first thing we start doing is this
Yeah, cool. Yeah, you get cold, get your
to
hands
try
up,
to try to warm up, and
cover my ears, cover my neck.
but those thank you. My dog ate, so you got
Okay.
this. But those things you use, those wet towels, they just don't. That's not enough for me because I'm like this, I'm pressing it harder to try to cool down faster. So it's just never been a one of those great options for me to cool down.
You know what one works really good for me? I like just putting them around my neck, the nice little cool ones. But in times when I have been really hot and needed to cool down, I have one that's actually, and you can use a regular square towel one, but I have one that's made to be a hood. So it's like a little hood and it splits in the back. So it has two little flaps that'll kind of go over your shoulders too. And it's made to be worn like over your head like that. And if I pop that up and it kind of comes down over and then in front of my face a little bit, like it's not touching my whole face and neck,
Hmm.
and then I have a fan hitting me, it literally feels like I have air conditioning even when it's hot. Or if I've really been overheating, I've used that in my van with the air conditioning, like when I've been like overheating, and it has drastically cooled me down. Like it makes my whole head and neck and shoulders cool down at once, and it makes your face and head like it's very effective. That's the one thing that because it covers everything. It's not just cooling your neck. Like it is still draped over my neck and my shoulders, um, but yeah, that's and then like Derek wears a baklava when it's really cold out, and those are great. I have two of those also.
What is that? Is that just like a parka or?
No, those are the ones that are made to be like a hood that you wear over your head. Like it's a full hood and face mask that closes. It's basically like a ninja mask that
Oh,
goes down,
yeah, I have one.
covers all the way
Yeah,
your neck. I have two of them. I have a thicker fleece one for the winter, and then I have like like a slightly thinner, cooler one for not as cool of temperature or not as like, cold like snow temperatures, but just being out. Um, I plan to use that one maybe more with doing cycling and stuff when it gets colder.
yeah. That I bought one last year, but I never used it and, um, for cycling. But yeah, and I'm sure for Nicole, I have a good friend. She's same thing. She's pretty tiny herself, and her hands turned purple and blue for sure. Um,
Oh, my hands will turn like red and purple um, in the cold. Like I will start to get like to where they'll yeah like it. And I don't know if my hands will feel like they always have like some numbness. I can't feel them well, but like they'll really feel like that tingling numbness. Like I can't feel anything in there once it gets even like kind of cold for me.
yeah, that's the back of my legs. The lower, like below, like hitting at that. And I never take off my shoes and socks, so to look, but I can tell from my sock level all the way up to the mid calf. It's like blue. It's not purple. Well, it's bluish purple. Like a couple years, I kept convincing myself like maybe I have diabetes or something. It's kind of like that look. Um, and my wife would always be like, "You don't have diabetes." And so one time I asked my doctor about it. I'm like, "Can we check for diabetes?" He's like, "What? Look, here's your blood results for every blood result you've ever done. No, you don't have it, but I'll check it. It's a pain in the butt, and maybe your insurance might not cover it because I don't have really a you eat well, you exercise, so but I'll check it." And he checked it and he goes, "See, Rohan, you're not even close."
That's
I was
good.
like, okay, now I know my legs turn purple just because.
I think it's just cold and circulation. Because that's one thing we were actually, Leah and I were playing with. She got like a while back, like a thermometer, one that just like you put like a couple inches from the skin and do like one of those like
Oh yeah,
sensor
like
ones.
yeah, with the yeah.
So you can like test all over. So we were, like testing. And we noticed that pretty much below my elbows and below my knees, body temperature starts to drastically drop. Like my feet wouldn't even register on it. Like, and it wasn't like it was freezing out, but it stops at 94 and it wouldn't go below, it doesn't read below 94. And it wouldn't read. And like, it was like, basically I was dead. Like, but like even like my thigh and stuff would be like 95 degrees, not like it would be significantly cooler than what so like yeah it's definitely clear that we don't have very good circulation in our lower extremities and even into our hands and stuff because that was the same. My fingers and stuff weren't registering on it, my fingertips, and my hands even were down in like the mid 90s also the low um, so so that's definitely like a fact for sure. And I would suggest it's kind of interesting and fun to do if anybody has one of those and just to like try and test. We were even doing it right now in the summer when I was having the infection in my hand, which I had done with
Oh yeah,
antibiotics.
how's that doing? Give us an update.
I still have some swelling in the knuckle, but it's just the main knuckle where it started. I'm done with antibiotics. It doesn't seem to be, it seems to still be going down, but there's nowhere for it to drain. So I don't know. I don't, so I think it's
Hopefully,
okay. but
Pulp Fiction, that thing just
just
poof.
smash. I know, like I need to almost like try to get it to like lance myself, yeah, or pop it open like that. Um,
Oh, you want to do that in an ER situation or something like that.
yeah,
That is so strange. I want, you're odd. Couple things in the chat. Derek said, for Nicole, I hate getting out of a warm shower in the winter. I have to put a little heater next to me when I get out. I never shower at night because of that case. Um, and yeah, it's miserable when you get out of the shower, Derek. Angry Quad. This is Tell me more. I did not. I've heard like when people do ice baths. It's like kind of like cryo, but you see on YouTube all there's a certain craze out there. They'll get into a tub of ice
yeah, that's
for
really
like a
popular
couple
right now.
minutes.
The ice.
Yeah, yeah. And so Quad was like, does anybody else do a hot, cold exposure in the shower to expand and contract their capillaries to booster their immune system? Uh, n- no, not exactly. I like the idea and hate the idea. Right now, I could see the idea, being that in the summer. Um, I'm just curious. Do you do it, and um, does it work for you? Because you said if it works, keep it up.
Yeah, I know. I'm curious.
Oh,
I'm
I see
curious.
here. Derek says I do for my pain on my shoulder and seems to help.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
what he's responding to. But yeah, no,
yeah.
that I've definitely heard a lot of stuff about that kind of stuff, and I don't know all the science behind it and stuff, but I do think that it is pretty legit. That does work and do certain things to your system. So
Well, a lot of times we have pain, um, and let's just say it's not spinal cord pain, just like what Derek experienced, shoulder pain. Um, or able bodies who have either little pains or exercising a lot, like, and I can see it helping for me for sure, as much as I do. Like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I rode in a total of 3 days, 110 miles, and
yeah,
and I know that, so I got a lot of inflammation going on, and I know that getting into something cold like that would definitely help the inflammation. So it helps the muscles, it helps recovery faster. They even have, I don't know if it's as popular anymore. Cyclists used to use it. I don't see it as often on my Instagram, and I follow a lot of cyclists, but they put on these long boots that contract, or it blows air, so it tightens, your whole legs, like put compression around your legs and blows cold air into it. So not only it's the compression is helping the recovery of the muscles, but the cold is also helping the inflammation of the muscles and the joints around it.
huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, that is cool. I wonder if there's anything else. Yeah, like that. Or-
Yeah, and I should try it more in the sense that I get my a nice hot shower, and then just before I do turn on the cold, not as much in the winter, but I'll turn on the cold because I notice my skin is beet red, and you know I don't want any. You're always scared of burns, and I don't want that to happen. So I always just make sure, like, oh, let's cool down. But I can see it working on the shoulder. My brother, who's a PT, a lot of times when my wife, talks about her wrist, my brother's like, anytime you overuse your wrist, like after exercising, put cold on it. Then towards the night when you relax, put some heat on it. So there's a theory about it, or science behind it, I should say.
yeah, no, I know there is definitely. Um, so yeah, that's probably good for a lot of different muscle recovery and maybe the immune system. Yeah, I don't know, lots of different stuff potentially help, but um, I guess I'll try to circle a little back to the some of the temperature regulation for some stuff. And I know we will definitely do another one of these. I always try to do like two a year, one for hot, one for cold, because it is something that does affect us all and is tough to deal with. What's angry quad does. Do you want to read that, Bobby, if you want?
Go for it.
The situation is your lymphatic system has no pump other than muscle contractions to push the lymphatic fluid through your system that in turn brings B cells and killer cells to bring viruses into the lymph nodes so the body can dispose of them and improve your immune system. Sorry, that was
No, you're totally right, Angry Quad. Uh, for sure, I've heard about it, I've read about it, and it's not something I practice. And it does sound like, and once again, if you can, is that something you practice? And it sounds like you probably do. So, kind of a dumb question if you know a lot about this. Um, and I see, some of your videos where um, badass getting off the ground onto your bench and into your chair. Um, that floored me. So good job there, Angry Quad. So you probably are using it. And it definitely, something that we all have to think about, improving our immune system.
yeah.
It's already, um, it's, it's something we constantly have to battle. You know, I feel like I've always had a weak immune system ever since becoming a quadriplegic. I never got sick before my injury. And I don't say like I don't get like the common cold, but when I do, it gets into my chest real fast.
Uh,
And it sounds like more of a natural way what Ingrid Quad's talking about than what I do is I put, I don't pump a lot, but I take my daily dose of zinc. Is a good way to improve your immune system.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Just I know there's a few things definitely healthy diet and things like that are for
That
sure.
too.
Thing person,
That,
yeah,
oh yeah, yeah.
lots of stuff like that. Just help keep your body healthy in general. Um, I know for me, I feel like a lot of time. I know we have somewhat of compromised immune systems as being quads and just having disabilities in general. Just all of the effects that happen to your body. It has to affect your immune system. Plus all the bacteria and things like that we have to deal with catheterization and all that. It's just a lot for people's bodies, I think. But yeah, I think just for me, when I get really tired, like if I'm not sleeping well, not eating a lot, I notice that I'll have more things like easier. Like I get sick easier then. I feel like I definitely like if my body is weaker, my body is just not at full health, and I'm exposed to anything. I feel like I can't fight it. And otherwise, I feel like normally, if I'm strong, if I'm feeling, I'm rested, I'm healthy, I'm nourished, I'm all that. Like, I feel like my body does a great job of like staving
Mm.
off small things, like
Yeah,
without.
I'm gonna look into it. Quad. The cardiovascular system has the um, heart, but the lymphatic
Lymphatic.
system relies on on the muscles and the movement. So yeah, I'm gonna look into it. So um, every GIMP should look into this. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that'd be cool. We should do like a full show on the muscle recovery and stuff. Maybe Angry Cod wants to come on for be a guest and share some of his knowledge on that.
We have not
But
have them. We have not had them yet.
yeah, no, we haven't. I had thought about that. I know for a lot of years. So that
I
might be a
love
good
it.
one though for doing muscle
I love
recovery.
it. We'll
Um,
reach out, Quad, Angry Quad. That would be great. Derek said he's got a tip. The ice pack used in shipping food stays frozen way longer than ice packs made for people because they are made to melt faster. Yeah, it makes sense. We always save our ice packs from I order from Wild Fork. If anybody hasn't tried their meat, I think it's a lot better than. Be careful what you wish for. Uh, um, um, and so yeah. If anybody hasn't tried Wild Fork Foods, um, they
Um,
got great, amazing chicken. Their chicken breasts are a lot better than any chicken breasts. I feel at a grocery store. Their steaks are good. They have exotic meats. You can get fish there. Great fish. I'll tell you that. And then they have prepared foods. So meals, like you're looking for a simple meal to put into the microwave or oven. They got a bunch of good ones. They even have like breakfast sandwiches, which weren't. I tried one. Um, you can get already pre-made hamburgers, these thick, juicy burgers that were amazing. So, but when we get that, I get it shipped to our house, um, and it's $35, and you get it shipped to your house free. So $35 a year for a year, and then we
what?
order from twice. We order twice a month, and it comes. Um, it's picked up by later Angry Quad. It's picked up by an Uber Eats or what's that? The one of the other ones, but they pick it up and deliver it. So like if you ever ordered food from like Uber Eats or any of those other ones, like
Yeah, DoorDash.
DoorDash, yeah, that's who drops it off. DoorDash. Like by the time you're done, you're getting ready to hit that order. You ever look at like how much like it's like double the cost of your actual food.
Oh yeah, no, they increased the price. Yeah, they're expensive.
It's like woo.
Yeah, no, it is a lot, but that's pretty cool. That's a cool. We'll have to share that info for people. Might be because that's helpful for a lot of people, even without disabilities, just to be able to get quality food delivered um, and not have to go to the store.
Hmm.
But
And right now, and it like it seemed like I coach exercise classes and I coached two this morning, and everybody was talking about Amazon Prime. Amazon is going on
uh huh.
for the next
Yeah,
three
Prime
days
Week
or four
or
days.
Prime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Prime Week or Prime Day or whatever. But one thing that I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to look into because of I host an event called Push to Peer, and we get great volunteers, but they're carrying our water bottles around in a bag. And I'm like, you know what? Next time I'm gonna get one of those backpacks that you can put those ice packs, like you said, Derek, um, and put the waters in to keep the waters cold. And then when they're walking along and they see one of our participants, they can hand them a cold water. And so I'm going to look for something like that. And that just got me thinking, like, you know, if you're going out and um, think it was Jay, you said that you were in a 9 hour car ride with no AC. Like on something like that of a trip or where you're at and you're going on a little hike, you never know what's going to happen. But to bring some cold water and your cold spray bottle and to have, your cold things in there while you're taking a half a day trip or just going out because you never know what can happen.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what we always like when we do our hikes out here. Um, one, we I think it was Derek also mentioned using the mornings and evenings. So that's pretty much what we do too. We get up at 5. We're up. We're like we've been out and on the hikes pretty much by 7 a.m. Because the difference between 7 to 8, it jumps almost 10 degrees out here in the morning from that, and then by 9, it's already up to like 85 like plus, and there's no shade, so it's just like direct sun in the desert, and that 85 feels miserable at that time. So, we even with all that and being out early and stuff, we bring the big like half-gallon jug of water with ice cubes in it, so it's cold. It's in the stainless thing. It stays cold. We have a second one that's for the dog, also that with ice as well. We both bring our cooling towels with us. Like we're, very prepared for the sun and the heat
Yeah.
and like going out like in that. And then even when we go to the park, we're going out on a ride in the car. We always bring extra water. We'll bring an extra water jug, and usually with ice as well, so that it stays pretty cold. And in an emergency, it's just so important to have stuff like that.
Jay had an interesting question. Um, if your AD ever changed, I used to sweat with a full bladder, but now I don't at all. And Derek, I'm in your boat. I wish mine has changed where I don't have AD. And earlier in the show, I was just talking about it. I have it throughout the night now and just sweating the bed. Um, and I think my AD of sweating has actually changed of the worst. Like I used to never get AD, even when my body was in distress or anything like that. But now it just seems like the simplest thing. My bladder's almost full, and it's boom. I already starting AD. In the morning, getting dressed, AD transfers, AD. Not constantly, but I just for about 3 minutes, I can just feel it right there. It's always my right side too. So I wish that was the case that it was going away, but mine is getting worse. I feel like.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like my AD has changed over the years, and actually has increased. But one thing I was actually just gonna mention real quick. I recently, for my bladder, I've always taken Ditropan as like a bladder relaxant, to keep my bladder under control. But a few years ago, my urologist started me on. She said I was taking too high of a dose of Ditropan, so she put me down to 15 milligrams a day, which is, I guess, the FDA recommended dose. But she put me on a drug called Marabetric, which a lot of people might know. You guys might be familiar with. It's in the same. It's a bladder relaxant, but a different type of drug, so it can be taken with Ditropan, like at the same time. And I was like, okay, cool, great. Hopefully, it helps with everything. Recently,
Mhm.
they ran out of it, and I couldn't get it refilled because I hadn't gone to the doctor, so I had to make my appointment. But then even when I did, uh, they were out of stock, and it just took like I had like over a week almost to where I didn't have it, and I wasn't taking it. And I realized I started to notice now even more that I actually am getting less of the AD because over the last few years, I've talked about how much more AD I'm getting from like bladder cramps and stomach cramps and like all this AD and pain and things in my core. I still have it and I still do get it, especially from sitting for long periods and doing things. But by
Mhm.
stopping to take that drug, I don't know. I've had less of it, and I don't know if it's coincidental or not. But that's one thing that I just in the last like month, um, I've it just happened. Like, yeah, it's been about a month now. I haven't taken it, and I don't know. I feel better, so I'm not gonna take it again. I had it refilled, but
So why, as someone with a suprapubic, um, supra, I always say super, um, suprapubic, why the ditropan?
I still was getting leaking. I still will get leaking if I don't take the ditropan. I will still pee. Like my bladder will still kick off and spasm and pee. Like I will just leak urine. Like my bladder just wants to spasm for
Mhm.
some reason. Um,
And
and
Jay,
that
this is
it's
your show. Jay, this is your show. So never, never say sorry for changing the subject. This is your show. This is what we're here for.
yeah, no worries. We do have to wrap it up here because I got to get
I know
to
next time change it a lot sooner in the show,
yeah.
but he probably just thought of it. Um,
But we will
so
have.
you
I
told
know I was planning to do the end of the month every month to do like the open Q&A, and I know we did one for the first week of this month because I had to switch last month's. So we will have another one of those coming up, and I think these are both good things to continue talking about.
and what we need to do the week before is ask everybody, save up your questions throughout the week and bombard us with those types of questions. Um, because I definitely want to get together with, or on that day, I talked to Shawn more about, the ditropan and what he's taking. And because one of my burning questions, and if you can say it real quick, does it help your sediment problem? Like mine's getting out of control. I don't know why. but it's just like I can't go a week now.
Really. Uh, I don't know if it helps my sediment problem. It might by reducing the spasms. I still do get quite a bit of sediment, but I've also found that recently, like changing my diet, like less salt and less just sugars
Yeah.
and things as well, but sugars and salt, both sodium, have helped with limiting some of my.
No, you said it right there. And what I've been drinking is a salt magnesium. It's sodium and magnesium uh, packets for my water because I have low sodium to begin with. And I was as my two plug this afternoon. Um, I take cold showers. My wife goes, "Do you think it's those?" And I'm pretty sure it's those
Yeah, maybe it is, and yeah, because it's causing a
because
lot of
I'm
the sediment.
drinking two or three a day and now that it's winter, I mean summer.
Okay,
Um,
that might be. You might have to just, I don't know, see.
no, and I see my urologist on. So text me that other drug you're taking, and I have um, a urology appointment on Thursday. So everybody, and this is just real quick, and we got to go and talk about our sponsors real quick. But uh, oh, thanks, Jay, and yeah, that I should get on Demonos too. Shame on me, and I know that too. Thanks for the reminder, but everybody should have like an outstanding urology appointment always booked if you can, every 6 months. It's just good practice, even with your doctors. Whenever I leave a doctor, I'm always like, they go, oh, you know, when you're ready to come see me again, make an appointment. But I always make sure I have something on the books. And it
No,
just
it's
so
good.
happens, having this urology appointment is coming up that, I booked so long ago, I kind of forgot. And I just noticed, like, oh, cool, I got this coming up. And so I just kind of a reminder that good uh, uh, good practice is to always put something on the books with your primary and your urologist.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good. I feel like at the very minimum once a year, but every 6 months is probably more recommended for sure for a lot of that. So I think that's great. And yeah, hopefully they'll be able to do something. I will text you that info. And Ken, real quick before I do wrap up with our sponsors, Ken had said oxybutynin, and ditcherpan is oxybutynin. Actually, ditcherpan is just one of the drugs. Sorry, I should have. Oxybutynin is the actual drug that it's like generic name for it for all of them, not the brand. Japan's, I think, a brand name.
Yeah.
Okay. So real quick, and then we'll definitely get to these again more. I know for sure in the future. So we'll talk plenty more about this stuff.
David Washington must be behind like 20 or 30 minutes because now he's talking about the cold showers.
Oh yeah, no, and that's what honestly I like a cold shower when it's really hot. I took my shower outside today using that outdoor shower out here. It was like
Ooh,
100 degrees outside, so it felt kind of nice. All right, real quick. So let's go ahead and start to wrap this up. Get our sponsors in here, and we can still kind of get to some of these things real quick as we
yeah.
wrap. But
You want me to do it?
um, so yeah, go for it.
Sure. We got mobility professionals and urology professionals. Thank you so much for helping Shawn pay some of the bills. Not all, but so if you're a vendor out there and want to sponsor the show, let us know. But we have good friends at Mobility Professionals, Urology Professionals. If you're here in the Southern California region, Mobility Professionals now have 3 locations to help with your mobility needs and your urology needs. They do both. That's a one shop stop there. But if you're not in the Southern California and you're across the nation here in the one of the 50 United States areas, 50 states, urology professionals are there for you. See if they take your insurance. You will not be sorry. I've had many friends switch over who are in different states, and um, every time I ask them, they're just like, "Oh yeah, it's like now I don't even have to worry about my stuff anymore." So great to hear from our good friends there. So take a look at them. And during our open discussion, if you have any questions about their services, let us know.
Yeah, no, definitely. We appreciate our sponsors very much. Thank you to mobility professionals and urology professionals, and thank you to everybody also that's watching and does support the channel, supports us. We appreciate all of that very much. Even just watching, liking the video, engaging,
Don't we,
all
don't
that.
we have new hats in the shop?
And we do. I actually still have to put them up on the shop. I got them right before we came, but I have the camo hats back in stock, but this time in a trucker style. So if you guys do like it's like a black and gray camo. They look really cool. And then we have them in a green, an orange, and a pink um, print. So they're really cool. I will get them all up there. I have the other ones on there, but that are non cam or non trucker. But I think they show out of stock on there, so I have to make sure to update the trucker ones in there. But thank you guys. Yeah, we do appreciate all that support. If you guys can in any way do that. And also this weekend, a quick shout out is the Rolettes experience. And I'm sure if might be a little bit late to sign up for the whole weekend, but if you are in the area, want to come by and visit and hang out, they do day things, and you can even just kind of come in, hang out, and visit a little bit. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They will
Yeah,
be down there. So
and I know for anybody in the other states, might be too late to travel out here, but anybody here in Southern California want to join, they are doing a men's day on Friday. And I have been told that if you cannot afford the day, I can get you in
yeah,
comp.
they
So,
have some sponsorship things or some So
yeah,
if you guys anybody is interested still, I think that one they're definitely still looking for people to sign up maybe or taking sign up. So check that out. But then also on Thursday, Bobby will be doing rolling over the hill this Thursday at 3:30 with the guys.
talking
Robert,
about Apple Watches, health apps, diets, nutrition, things like that, how to keep track of your exercise and fitness and health and well being.
yeah. So check that out, you guys. That is awesome. Actually, super cool. I will definitely pay some attention on that one. Maybe take a couple little notes because I'm looking into getting an Apple Watch maybe in the future. Probably not too soon, but I would like maybe. I think it'd be kind of cool, especially with the heart monitor and all that kind of stuff.
They have
They're getting older.
on Prime Deal. They are. I noticed the Apple Watches are marked down a little bit.
Right on. Maybe it might be like next year's Prime then, or Black Friday. Right now,
Yeah, I just bought a car. Come on, and not
yeah,
just any car.
yeah, that's exactly. I got a little bit other expenses to worry right now, so want to make sure you stay on budget. But yeah, guys, check that out on Thursday. That should be a great show, and then we will be back again on Tuesday as well, next Tuesday. So tune back in on Tuesday. Um, and Tom might be back next week. He had texted me today, might be coming on, so we'll see. Hopefully, he'll be feeling up to it. But still working out scheduling and stuff for that one. But tune in next week. Check us out, guys. And if you guys have any other questions or any comments or anything like that you do want to discuss, we will be doing that other Q&A at the end of the month. So we'll make sure drop it in a comment or message us something like that, so that we can kind of have the note for that and we can make sure to get to it. So
Yeah, message us on our Instagram at Live to Roll, or you can message me personally too at Robert Rohan, all one word.
awesome.
Robert, the land of the Rohans.
Awesome, you guys. Thank you, everybody, again for watching. We do appreciate you guys. And yeah, live to roll, everybody. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, Derek, and everybody in the chat.
Yeah, thank you guys all. We really appreciate you guys. Live to roll.